Hey everyone, and welcome. My name's Aaron, and today I wanted to talk just a little bit about your environment, your creative environment, your recording environment. A lot of people ask me, why, Aaron, why does my room sound like a box? How can I make it not sound like I'm in a box or in a tunnel? I want to share a little bit about what I did in my own room here and just a few practical things on how you can get your room sounding good and also feeling good. We're going to talk about some mental and psychological things, which are also important. Hopefully this will apply to you whether you're, a recording studio person or you're just a musician who has a creative room that you want to make a hotbed of creativity and inspiration. The first thing you need to understand is basically hard surfaces reflect sound. So when you yell at them, they will reflect that sound back to you. And soft surfaces absorb sound. So when you yell at soft surfaces, they will just absorb it. They will just take it. Usually when you walk into a typical bedroom, which most of us, that's our recording environment or our creative environment, you have a bunch of parallel walls, sheetrock, hard materials. You have a window, which is also a hard, surface. And so you walk in and it sounds like a box because it is a box. You're in a box that is a bunch of hard surfaces and the sound is just bouncing everywhere freely and there's nowhere for it to go, for it to die. And the way generally you do that is with soft surfaces. So I'm going to give you 5 C's of acoustic treatment. The 5 C's of acoustic treatment. First, carpet. It's your floor in your room is a big absorber or reflector of sound. If you don't have carpet in your room, bring in a bunch of rugs. Next, a couch. Bring in a couch. It provides a spot for people to sit and listen to your beautiful musical creations. And it's also a big plush, nice soft surface to absorb the sound. Third, curtains. Get some curtains for your window, especially if you don't have any curtains, if you just have blinds there. Get some nice thick curtains to absorb the sound and also block out light if that's something you want to do. I've also, in my room, in addition to the curtains on my window, I've also made these sort of makeshift curtains on a few of my walls out of just this like fleece material. I got this like bulk fleece, black fleece, and I just wrapped it around like the top of a curtain rod and I'm just hanging it on the walls there just to absorb. So we've got carpet, couch, curtains, and now cut the corners. The last one is 2 for the price of 1. You got to cut the corners in your room. What am I talking about? This is kind of acoustic treatment 101. Aside from just making the room, get a bunch of soft surfaces in there, you want to cut the corners in your room. And I want to tell you a little bit about the acoustic treatment that I made and where I put it in my room. First of all, the concept behind cutting the corners is 90-degree angles in your room are your enemy. Sound builds up, in a corner of a room. It just builds up and bounces back and forth and like comes back at you and it sounds like a box. You want to cut off that access for the sound to bounce, around in the corner. And so what I've done with these pieces of acoustic treatment is I've put them up strategically at a 45-degree angle in these corners to cut the corner and absorb the sound in that corner rather than the sound bouncing around. Now when it goes into that corner, it gets absorbed by the acoustic treatment. So how did I make my acoustic treatment? Here's what you need to do. Don't go out and buy pre-made stuff. You can make your own, and here's how you do it. Go to an HVAC store and buy a big 4-foot by 8-foot sheet of duct board. You can get at least 1 inch thick. You can get thicker thicknesses, but I don't remember it being more than like $30, $35 maybe for a big 4x8 sheet of this stuff. It is very affordable. So I bought 2 4x8 sheets of this stuff and then I cut each one in quarters. So I ended up with 8 2-foot by 4-foot sections of this fiberglass insulation stuff. Then I went to Joann Fabrics and found like the cheapest polyester material that I could find and bought a whole bunch of it. I just covered the fiberglass side with this stuff. So this is a piece of this fiberglass insulation stuff. I'm going to turn it around. You'll see on the back here, it's got this silver kind of backing. And then on the front, it's just a raw like fiberglass insulation. And so you don't want to touch that with your hands. That's why you want to cover it with this material. And I just, I got a little bit of excess and I just stapled it to the back here. And then I just got some hooks and sort of positioned it and attached it to the wall. I made it work. I've done that to every wall in my room on the corners. I've cut the corners there. In addition to that, I've also cut the corners on the ceiling in the middle of each wall. So up here above the computer area here, I've got a panel that goes 45-degree angle from the wall to the ceiling. And I've done that on, all corners of the room that I'm able to do. So, before I did this, I thought, what is it really going to have that much of an effect? And is it worth, going through all the work and spending money or whatever on it? And it absolutely, I can just tell you from experience, it's absolutely so worth it. It sounds so different in this room now than if you were to just walk into this room and it wasn't treated at all. People who have no sound training at all have walked into my room and they go, whoa, it's like, it's so quiet in here. What is it? I like it. It's instantly identifiable. It's not a subtle change. It's absolutely a huge change. So it took me like a couple days maybe of work to get these all cut and whatever, but I've used them in every room that I've been in. It's kind of a scrappy like DIY way to do it, but I ended up spending not a lot of money and it's gotten me great results. So, as important as all that practical stuff is, the vibe and the feel of your space is just as important. A creative space has to feel good to be in. Otherwise, who wants to be in there? And artists are notoriously picky when it comes to how a place feels. And so you want to make your room feel conducive to inspiration. A few ways I've done that with my room. The first thing I did when I came in here is I painted the walls. I painted them this kind of dark gray color. You can sort of see it on the wall above my Gretsch there. It's kind of this soft, dark gray blue. You can do some research on like what colors, inspire different creative spaces. And also every person is different. So, do a nice color that inspires you. It makes you want to be in that space. It's sort of a neutral color, but it's a little darker and warmer and deeper. And it's nicer than the white that this room was. Next, cleanliness. You want to keep your space clean, especially if you're hosting clients and other artists are coming into your room. You want to maintain a clean and professional kind of workspace. Tidy. It doesn't have to be clinical and, uber clean and perfect, but it should be tidy. It should feel well kept. Like right now I have this cardigan that's just sitting here disheveled on the couch. And to be honest, it's throwing off my vibe right now. Just seeing this thing. Here it is. I mean, if I had this in the shot, how much worse is the shot now that cardigan is in the shot? I mean, it might be one of these obvious things, like you want to keep your room clean, right? A lot of times, that's not high on people's priority list, but make it a high priority for yourself. Another thing is lighting. What's the lighting like in your creative space? A lot of artists like to work in reduced kind of lighting or controlled lighting. And a lot of people who come into my room want to turn off the lights and just have the lamp on or whatever. It might be as simple as just getting a lamp that you can turn on. Turn off the overhead light and turn on a nice warm kind of lamp. Also, temperature. How does it feel to be in your room? One of the best recent investments that I made is this portable air conditioner that I just got. In the summer, this place is an oven of hell. I don't know if it's the placement of this, like as far as where the sun is setting or rising or something. And then it's all the gear in the room that makes the room hot. And then it's all the acoustic treatment that is insulation. So it's keeping all the hot air in. And it's just horrible to try to work here in the summer. And so I bit the bullet and sold some like guitar pedals and bought this portable air conditioner. It's not the most pretty thing that, in the room or whatever. It's got these gigantic hoses that go outside. It gave me all these power problems. I had to run an extension cord like down the hall so it was on a different circuit because it was blowing up all of my gear and stuff like that. Even with all of those issues, it is like a lifesaver because I know that in the summer now, I can just crank this thing, when I'm not in the room or whatever, and it will make the room nice and cool. And when I come in here, I will want to work. Another thing, smell. How does it smell in your room? Well, my room smells neutral. Probably not. It might smell neutral to you, but how about to anyone else who walks in there? Make it smell like something nice. Get a nice candle, a fresh, mild smelling, like some of those scents that are like rain or fresh linen or clean air scent. It's just another sense of creating a space that is a space that people want to be in. Obviously, all these things are of utmost importance if you have other clients coming in, but I think it goes deeper than that actually, because that inner child of creativity that lives inside each one of us, that place of inspiration. Those of you who are creative people will understand this. It's not a space that you can just access 24 hours a day anytime you want. It's a impulse, it's a spark that only comes out at certain times and refuses to come out at other times. And so you want to provide the most welcoming environment for that creative spark that lives inside of yourself. So all of these things might seem like small things, and they are small things on their own, things like lighting and smell and things like that. But when you add them all up, they add up to either a room you want to be in and create music in, or you don't. What I've found is the more I treat this room kind of like this sacred creative space, the better results that I've gotten from myself. So that's it for today. Feel free to leave me any questions you have below. We'll see you guys next time.